To After Battle. I'm your host as always, Daniel Levi, and joining me now is the Motown phenom, Kevin Lee. Kevin, welcome back to After Battle.
Oh, what's going on, my man? Good to be here.
Man, it's good to have you back, and I know you were confident in your fight with Chiesa, but did you know it was going to be a first-round 50K performance of the night type win?
I mean, no, I was expecting it to go to full. Like I said, Chiesa was really tough. I was expecting it to go to full 5 rounds, and I was looking forward to turning his face in the hamburger meat. So I guess be looking forward to, if he, I heard that he filed for the complaint. So if he's looking forward to that again, we can get it in.
Yeah, and we could talk about the big slam, and we could talk about the choke, but what I want to talk about is, how about that ground and pound, man? I mean, damn, you busted up Chiesa at his own game.
Yeah, I mean, people were going to focus on the show, but yeah, like you said, he's down there taking some damage. So I even told him that, like, he should be thanking Mario. Mario saved him. Mario might have taken a few years on his life because it was just going to be 4 more rounds of that. And as you can see, like, the punches were coming hard. They weren't so it was going to be a lot more of that coming his way.
So, I mean, dude, you jump basically to the front of the line now because you beat a guy in Trinaldo, and he's ranked around number 10 or 11. He's a very tough guy, but now you just take out the number 5, number 6 guy. So, I mean, it's basically you right behind Tony and Khabib.
Yeah, I mean, the rankings don't really mean shit, you know what I mean? Because, again, I fought just as tough guys. People just don't know them, Nobody wants to fight Magomed Mustafa. Nobody wants to fight Dick Matthews. Nobody wants to fight a lot of these guys like James Musafir that I've already gone through. They just don't have that kind of name recognition, but they're still just as tough fighters. When you look at the 155 division, you can break down to like the top 30 guys can all be champs. So, I mean, yeah, the rankings is cool. The rankings is whatever, but it really don't mean nothing. I feel like I've been at the top for a while, and that's how I approach each fight, regardless of what number is next to my name.
Now, Kevin, tell me about your mindset, because you've not only have you been fighting tough guys, now you've been doing that your whole career. A lot of people don't know, but in your second pro fight, you take on this guy, Monsignor Bernuri, and he's a guy that people on the regional scene, they know. You don't just go out there and fight that guy on short notice. You know what I mean, Kevin?
Yeah, especially when you 1-0 and he's 7-0. It was a tough fight. I mean, it was a dumb. I've taken a lot of dumb fights that don't really make sense. That most of these other guys, they would have turned down. You see some of these guys, like when you say I'm right behind Khabib and Tony, these guys don't even fight, because they think this dumb fight. Tony didn't take the fight with Michael Johnson in March. And to me, it's like, it's some bitch shit. So, I'm down to fight whoever. Like, I want that challenge. So that's why I call out guys like Khabib, because I feel like he's going to give me that challenge. If you ask him the same questions, he's going to call out somebody like Nate Diaz or, somebody coming off a debut or somebody coming off a loss. But for me, I'm always looking toward the top, and that's how I've been since the beginning of my career. So that's just the way I kind of approach it. I like a challenge, and I ain't going to stop yet.
Now, I mean, dude, you've always had an awesome personality, but it seems like people are finally starting to pick up on it. And
yeah.
You feel like you could be the face of the lightweight division, in the next year or two?
I mean, I feel like regardless, when I bring in UFC to Detroit later on this year, it's gonna be big for the company. It's gonna be big for the sport. We're gonna draw in a lot of those. And I feel like I showed that even over last weekend. We pulled in great numbers. Outdid Bellator, who Bellator was, they had a title fight in on a Saturday night, and we still outdid them. So I think in Detroit, when we go there and do the pay-per-view, it's going to be huge, and it's going to draw for a much wider range of audience than any other card. So, I feel like I've already shown the company already know. They love me down there. So, they show me some love, even though I get a lot of hate, too.
Look, man, you guys did your thing at the press conference, and then you brought in great numbers. Now you're talking about going on a pay-per-view. Now, I know you really want to go on this Detroit pay-per-view, and if it were up to you, who else did you want on the card with you, man?
As far as, like, on the card fighting against me? I mean, or like, fighting against somebody else?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, who do you want to, to sell the pay-per-view with? Who do you want to go on a media tour with, Who do you want in the main or co-main event?
Any of them. It don't matter. It ain't gonna matter. It don't even matter the opponent. I think it's gonna be huge regardless of what it is. Like I said, you see on last Sunday, people didn't show up to see Johnny Hendricks, who barely trained for the damn fight. miss weight and then look like crap. You know, they didn't show up to see BJ Penn. They didn't show up to see none of these other folks. You know, I think you know, I think I drew. You know, me and Mike's fight drew on its own. And if it's me and Khabib in December, oh, you best believe, like, you don't matter who the co-main is, it's gonna sell well.
Man, what does it mean to you to come back in Detroit now that you're in the position you're in, not just for yourself, but, you know, for the kids that come from where you came from, to know that, hey, you can do big things with your life, you can be great?
Yeah, and I mean, and I said that even before the fight. That was one of the main approaches to the fight. You know, the fight was on June 25th, and I had that 25 to life hashtag, and, you know, that's one of the things that I mainly promoted, was to show the kids, you know, because when we grew up, you know, you see the drug dealers and you know, guys doing the wrong things to get the right things. And, you know, I'm out here to show the kids that you can, you know, you can still work hard. You can literally fight for it and still get the thing that you want. So, you know, yeah, it's going to be big, but I feel like it's already going to be big regardless.
Now, Kevin, I know you said fuck the rankings, but I got to ask you about how you match up with the consensus #1 and #2 guy, because, look,
sure,
a lot of people think that Khabib is the best wrestler at 155 pounds. You've said for a long time that you're the best wrestler at 155. How do you think a fight between the two of you would go down?
And I mean, and I've shown it time and time again. You know, if you look at my fight, has Khabib even fought one other fellow wrestler, you know what I mean, and taking him down, and really, you know, when you actually look at his wrestling, you know, he misses a lot of shots. You know, he forces a lot of things. I think I'm much more fluid, you know, especially on the feet. You know, I'm way more fluid, way more active, way quicker, more in and out. You know, and he's just gonna get beat up. You know, I'm not gonna let him settle in position, and I feel like he know that, and he's trying to hold on to that imaginary because he's got a great manager, and they're gonna keep him away from them tough fights. They're going to give him easy fights. They don't give him Michael Johnson we can go and lay on top of, but they know he ain't gonna be able to do that against me, especially not for 5 rounds. Yeah, I'll be damned. It ain't gonna be no way. It just ain't gonna happen, bro.
Now, I have a question. Do you view a fight with Tony Ferguson kind of similar to Chiesa? And the reason I ask that is because, you know, it can be ugly, it can be unorthodox, but he's one of those guys that finds a way to win.
Yeah, and it's effective, you know, and he's kind of got that Homer Simpson defense. You know, you hit him a lot, and then you get tired of hitting him, and then he comes back on strong. But, you know, you just got to be smart, and I feel like it's fights like this that will get me to the next level, because you got to have a high fight IQ in order to beat somebody like Tony, because he is tough. He can take a punch, and he can take a lot of punches. So, you know, he's got a very unorthodox, awkward style. You know, it's hard to read. You know, he gets hit a lot in between all those stand switches and the flips around, and, you know, can be, you know, so I'll come up with a great game plan, and we'll put him out of there. So, you know, if they want to make that fight happen too, you know, I think right now we're trying to see how they're going to shake up. If them two going to fight, then maybe I get the loser of that in December, or however. That's, you know, I just got off the phone with him this morning. We're trying to figure it out.
And, you know, the other potential matchup that people were talking about is Edson Barboza. Now, do you lick your chops when you hear about a matchup like that?
Yeah, I think Edson can be broken. I think he'd be broken mentally. I think he has been broken mentally, and I think I can do it again. I mean, it's something that I'm interested in, but I don't know. I don't know what direction they're trying to go in. You know, and we were even looking at somebody like Eddie Alvarez. I think Eddie Alvarez would be a great fight. You know, a very sellable fight. You know, you got Philly versus Detroit. You know, if we had a line in Detroit, you really can't ask for much more than that.
Man, so Kevin, I remember back when you were on Half the Battle and you predicted Conor McGregor to dethrone the great Jose Aldo. Now I got to ask you a fight prediction on this one, man,
right.
Because look, this weekend is arguably, in my opinion, one of the best fights of 2017. We got Robert Whittaker taking on Yoel Romero, and it's just such an incredible matchup. Who do you give the edge to, man?
Man, it is a great. You know, I gotta give it to Whittaker. Yoel Romero, I think, is one of the greatest competitors that mixed martial arts has seen. You know, he's got so much competition experience, and he knows how to win. You know, people might say he's a dirty fighter or whatever, but regardless of all that, he knows how to win. I don't think that he has done it in a 5-round fight yet. I feel like his style is suited for a 3-rounder where he kind of waits. And people don't even realize, like, I've studied Yoel for a long time, and even back in his Olympic wrestling days, you know, he would wait pretty much the whole 6 minutes of the match. And then the last, 30 seconds, he would go and pour it on and score 10 points. Against in a 5-rounder, I just don't see that as being a great game plan or being useful, and I think he might get outworked by Whittaker.
Now, in your weight class, man, we got two vets, two guys that were in the top 10 a couple years ago. Anthony Showtime Pettis is taking on Jim Miller. They currently got Jim Miller as a plus 205 underdog. You think he's worth a shot here?
Nah, he don't stand a chance, bro. I mean, me and Anthony are boys too, but I'm just talking about just skill-wise. It ain't no way. I'm telling you that right now. He going out there. They putting on a show. It's gonna be Showtime night. So it's gonna be a fun. It's gonna be some flashy shit being thrown. I tell you that. Jim's too slow, gets hit too much. He's got that same rhythm, same bouncing up and down, and he's a southpaw going against, which means that Anthony can stand in his orthodox stance and have the power leg in the back, which is his right leg is his strongest leg, and I think he does his best work against southpaw. So, it's going to be a showcase fight, that's for sure.
Well, before I let you go, man, what's next for Kevin Lee?
I mean, we're going to see, like I said, we just got off the phone this morning with the UFC, and we're working on getting a fight put together. Right now I've got to go, I've got fight weekend this weekend that I'm going to be a part of, and then I head over to England to be a part of the UFC Glasgow too. So, go to the SBs. I got a couple things on horizon that I'm looking forward to. But other than that, I mean, we'll see as far as fight predictions.
Well, Kevin, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me right here, right now on Half the Battle. It's been a pleasure as always, my man. Anything else you want to tell the fans? Go ahead.
Oh, they already know. At Motown Phenom everywhere, baby. I appreciate you. And shout out to Adidas, too. I give them a shout out and everything.